My name is Massimo Trombin, and today I like to tell the story of what became the Global Peace Foundation. The Global Peace Foundation is an idea that started in 2006 in Southeast Asia, in the Philippines, and it came out of the inspiration of the chairman of the Global Peace Foundation that was registered in 2009 in Washington, D.C. officially. The idea was to create a new format, a new platform, a new vision to promote world peace, but in a different way, in a different formats as the usual one, not through a debate, not through conferences, etc., but through action, by engaging all the different major protagonists of society, from the first, from the second, and from the third sector, meaning from the public power, from the private sector, means businessmen, etc., and from the civil society. By civil society, we mean the NGOs, churches, academical institutions, and so on. So we gather in the Philippines, and at the time I was there promoting this, the execution of this idea with my colleague Ayagoto, that is originally from Japan.
So working for international project, including International Youth Forum, International Youth Rally, and the Mr. and Miss University Beauty Pageant, and service project in celebration of our International Youth Day.
So later on, another friend joined our team. His name is Daniel Bessel, that is originally from Germany. So it's very significant, these three representatives, because I'm Italian, I'm originally from Italy, from Milano. Then we have Ayagoto from Japan and Daniel Bessel from Germany. So actually we did represent the three nations that started the Second World War. And actually we gather in the Philippines together to promote peace. How that it was done? The format was very, very simple and very inspirational, I say. We wanted to impact society in a very meaningful way. And particularly, we want to impact the young people, the youth, because always through generations, the youth are the one holding in their hands the future. So we want to inspire the young Filipino to become a new type of citizen with deep conscience and good sense of living for the sake of others. And the slogan and the motto of this initiative was, it is as well today, one family under God, meaning we belong to the common family, the family of humanity, and we should work together based upon common values and universal principles. In other words, we should focus on what can unite us, what can bring us together, not what can divide us or create confrontation. To establish peace, we need and we must work for the common good. And fundamentally, all human beings, they're inspired to achieve the same goals, that is happiness. Everybody wants to have a joyful, a happy life with a good living standards. So we should work together towards that goal, according to our tradition, according to our faith, according to our capacity. But if we join together, we can achieve this goal globally. So, as they are saying, we should work locally, but think globally. So, in the Philippines in 2006, in the summer, we start this project involving the Association of the United Nations of the Philippines, the City Hall of Manila, many universities and NGOs. And we organized the event in three components. The first component was a gathering for 3 days of experts of different fields to come together in a conference, engaging particularly young leaders. And we engage leaders from many nations from around the world that they gathered together in Manila. So we did have these 3 fantastic days with symposiums, with conference, with debates, addressing these fundamental issues of the time. The second component was a full day of social actions, social services. At that time, we worked with the Kawakalinda, that is a Catholic organization of the Philippines that really focused to create a healing process between Catholic communities and Islamic Muslim communities. And the Kawakalinga created a village to help vulnerable Muslim families to be hosted in new homes. So we called volunteers to build those homes in Manila for 1 day, involving almost 2,000 young people to do that.
It was the largest seventh International Youth Day celebration in the country, with the theme MDGs, Millennium Development Goals, Youth Unite in Action. That scope of work was unbelievable, and it was first time for me to experience that overarching programs happening all in 3 days simultaneously.
And then to close the event, we organized a festival for peace at the Araneta Stadium, in which thousands of young people came together. And we impact the whole nation. So there were articles from the media, coverage from TV and radio.
This is a time in aging we really need to emphasize the importance of peace around the world.
But fundamentally, the return has been so exciting that we decided to carry on with this initiative to really experiment in other nations this idea. And so we multiply this idea in overall 3 years in more than 30 nations from around the world. And the following year, we did again in the Philippines in 2007, involving 240,000 people in this event with an amazing impact. What is interesting about the Philippines is that is the Christian nation in that part of the world and is totally surrounded by Islamic nation. So it's quite unique. And why is that? Because the Philippines were a colony of Spain for about 300 years. And then they became also influenced for about 50 years or so by the United States. So they speak English, they speak Spanish, Tagalog, and many local languages. The Philippines is a nation composed by 7,000 islands. So it's very diversified culturally and very rich. There are about 100 million or so inhabitants within the Philippines. But most importantly, according to the United Nations Volunteers Organization, the Philippines is always between the first 3 nations concerning the volunteer actions and participation from around the world. With Italy, with India, United States, always the Philippines is among the top nations for the spirit of volunteerism that is impregnating the nation. So in the Philippines, there is a strong sense of community, working together as a family. is a poor nation, but with the great potentialities for the future. Very touching experiences with the Philippines has been that they're always happy, no matter what the circumstances in which they are living in. Their response is always very fantastic, very optimistic, and looking at the future to improve their lives. It's interesting to see also that in the Philippines, that they migrated to the United States, they became one of the most rich ethnical group in the United States. So they work very hard and they have a strong uh, ethics towards working and supporting others in their endeavors. So it was a very inspiring experience. So the Global Peace Foundation today is a present in about 24 nations as a registered organization or project or program. And the GPF is involved in interfaith actions because we believe that religious conflicts are one of the roots of war in our times and confrontation. Also, ethnical conflicts are one of the roots of confrontations in our world today. Family value crisis is another root of conflicts in our world today. So we work according to certain fundamental pillars of our approach as a vision and mission of our organization. So we promote interfaith cooperation, family values, and cooperation among the three major sectors of society in order to solve conflict and promote peace. For example, in Nigeria, we have been promoting to solve the conflict between Christians and Muslims, as well in the Philippines, where we started what was an idea and became a world organization. In the Philippines, we initiated the first conference involving representatives of the guerrillas in the island of Mindanao in a process of peace. 2 years later, the government signed a peace treaty in relation to those fighters. And concerning family values, we consider family to be the pillar of a healthy and peaceful society. It's like the cornerstone for building a positive society. If you destroy the cornerstone, the building will collapse. So family today is really under an incredible challenge and pressure worldwide, and there is a reason for it. We are facing a crisis in values, in visions for the world, and we are all influenced by social media, informations, communication, pushing all mankind to be very much connected. And so we need to find a solution. We must find a solution to preserve the cornerstone for peaceful society. And then it's extremely important to create bridge of cooperation between the public power, means governments, and civil society, and the private sector. It's very clear and it's obvious the political power these days does not have all the capacity to solve problems. This is very clear. In some nations because of corruption, in some nations because there is too much of addressing the issues with the ideological perspective, missing the point. The politics must actually, not should, must serve the people. But this doesn't really happen. So they need the presence of the civil society. The non-profit organization, the NGOs, they became protagonists worldwide in order to find solutions. That's why GPF became organization, not to institutionalize the ideas, but to create a practical tool to implement this vision, this world vision, this world view to promote peace locally and around the world. So in the next session, we can talk more about specific cases in order for all of you to understand how we operate and how successful a program of this nature can be. Thank you very much.